Hello, Oracles. Well, Tesla stock is definitely oversold ahead of these inflation data numbers coming in, with the PPI coming out today and CPI coming out tomorrow. And yesterday we just got the China production numbers coming out as well, and looks like they have made another record for production over there. So we will get to all that in a moment. Just wanted to remind you guys who are members and patrons, we will be doing our first live stream this weekend, discussing all the different charts and how I come up with the levels that I see in the charts. So I will let you guys know later this week what day we will do it. It all depends on which day I get my son this weekend. If you guys are interested in becoming a member or patron, that link is down in the pinned comment below. So looking at the numbers we have coming out today, we have PPI data. Again, this is one of the first times this year that we have seen PPI come out before CPI. So the PPI expectations today, headline number of 8.4%. So this is a number I'm going to pay attention to. Month over month numbers are very important as well, because that can also show us trends going forward. So this is going to be coming out 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll see how the numbers come out. Now again, a lot of the market has been oversold. There's so much FUD and fear in the market. It's hard to even see a silver lining right now in the market. This is how much fear and FUD there are. So not sure how the market's going to react today. 8.4% is still extremely high. You got to remember that we're looking to get numbers for inflation down under 3%. We have been slowly creeping down, and we really haven't truly seen what could be called a peak. You know, we have seen us coming down, and we went back up, and then we came back down. We want to see this continue. And then you have to remember that OPEC is going to be cutting production of 2 million barrels per day come November. That could in turn push inflation back up, just like it did back in the spring. And that cut in production could also lead to more energy issue constraints that are coming up for Germany and other parts of Europe this winter. So again, so many uncertain things, so much fear that is out there right now. I don't know how much more oversold we can get. Right now, the RSI for Tesla is 25. That is really low. That is the lowest it has been all year. The lowest we were at previously is when we were at lows of the year, which was 621 pre-split, or 206 to 207 based on the numbers right now. So that right now, we aren't at the year lows for the stock price, but we are at the year lows for the RSI. So again, anything under 30 usually means oversold and usually indicates that we'll have some buying pressure coming in. But on the other end, overbought is over 70. And last year when we had the Hertz news in Q3, we had gotten ourselves to a 90 RSI, and we were over 70 for about a week and a half. So again, not to say we can't stay under this, and with CPI and PPI data coming out, you know, maybe we do stay down here. I don't know, but the next 2 days are probably going to give us an indication as to whether we're going to be having some buyers come back in or not. And to add to all of this, we have a lot of CEOs, Cathie Wood and many others coming out, urging the Fed to stop raising rates, because we are eventually going to get ourselves to a point where we have deflationary pressures coming in. We have a lot of retailers out there who have just a ton of inventory, and they're just looking to cut the prices to get rid of this. So if they're already looking to cut the prices, that will naturally bring inflation down. So if the Fed is cranking up interest rates as fast as they are, that could end up pushing us past where we need to be, and then cause a massive fall off a cliff when it comes to inflation. Again, we want to see that inflation number come down, but if we fall off that fast, that could be bad as well. You don't want to get yourself into a situation of deflation, because when you have a deflationary spiral downward, people don't end up buying things. You need the people to buy things to get GDP going. This is why you want to have inflation numbers slightly over zero. So the Fed usually shoots for about 2 to 3% inflation, because that encourages people to continue spending and buying more. When you have deflationary pressures, people will wait, and people will say, hey, I don't want to buy right now because the prices are coming down. We just saw that when we had the rumors coming out over in China about prices potentially coming down. That pushed off what we thought was going to be demand. So we'll get into those numbers in a moment as well. But you know, when you're pushing off that demand because of prices coming down, this is what could happen on a global scale. And as people are trying to actually make more money, but people aren't buying, that's a problem. In order for businesses to grow, they need to make profits. In order to make profits, they need to make sales, and they need to increase those sales. But if prices continue to come down, that means that their sales are going to decrease, which means that their profits decrease. That's not the situation we want to be in. We want to be going the other way. We want a little bit of inflation. And so a lot of these CEOs and Cathie Wood are urging the Fed to not be raising rates like this, because they're afraid we're going to make that flip and we're going to get to a forced deflationary pressure, which could cause a downward spiral. And so what that means is that businesses that have the most demand will end up getting the sale, and the people with the pricing power are going to do the best. Tesla is one of those. They have the ability to move pricing around and still make profits as well. So now looking over in China, obviously a big concern over there was, do they have a demand issue? Well, we got production numbers out yesterday, and that was the final piece of the puzzle. They came in with record production numbers of 82,088 vehicles produced. Previously, Tesla's production record was 76,605 set back in August, so they are continuing to make month-over-month record production numbers. So again, they sold 83,000 vehicles, 5,000 of those were exports. So we knew that they were going to be exporting at the end of the month. That's normally what they do, and they did start earlier this month. So having them basically sell every single vehicle that they produced while still carrying over that 10,000 inventory from July into August into September, then we look at the vehicles that they said that they had in transport of about 20,000. So you can say half of that may have been the inventory that they carried over. The rest would have then come from other parts of the world. Maybe they were in transport. Maybe they're just building up inventory over there as well. So this now leads us to believe that there is not a demand issue over in China, and it was just production. Now you question, obviously, production is the number one number I look at because Tesla is going to deliver every single vehicle that they produce. That is how I've looked at it, and they have now proven that again over in Shanghai. So with these numbers coming out, why did they not produce as many vehicles? Well, they did have 2.5 days of downtime. They had 1 day less due to August being 1 day longer than September, and they were down for 1.5 days due to the typhoon that was coming through. So they got back up to ramp there. So they had a little bit of unexpected downtime to get themselves recouped and back up and running over there. And we know that they've only been running at 93% capacity, which is totally normal. You know, running at 100% capacity is nearly impossible. So 93% is still pretty darn good. So those are the numbers, and as Rob Maurer was discussing over on ShareLoft, the Model Y production was down from August in September. So they were down about 5,000 vehicles produced. Just some speculations as to why. Could have been because of the typhoon coming through. Maybe that affected some of those numbers. We know that they are looking to be producing 2 Model Ys for every Model 3 over there. So those numbers were off a little bit. Not exactly sure why, but either way, it was still a record number. Now we're looking at October, and we'll see how these numbers come out in November to see if they have pushed that even further. And here in October, we do have an extra day over September, but there is possibly some downtime due to the Chinese holidays that they have over there, which Tesla had previously offered up 3 times pay for people to come and work during those times to forego the holiday and work through it. And so looking at the charts, and we discussed it last night on the live stream, so the RSI again is 25. Now I did look at it on the daily, weekly, and monthly. So the daily is at 25, the weekly is at 38, and the monthly is in the 40s. So again, looking at the charts on a long-term basis, very uncertain as to where we can go, just because, again, we are not going to be turning ourselves into a true bull market again until the Fed decides to lower interest rates. And right now, we are so far from that because we have a Fed who is still looking to be hawkish and raise interest rates even higher to try and fight this inflation. So again, we're not even close to that point. We are in much of a trader's market at the moment. I was discussing with my father the other day about this is really a trader's market. You can make some good money up and down with all these swings. Look at the way we've seen Tesla swinging all year long. So, you know, it's again, you got to do your own due diligence and research, but that's basically how the market is going to be trading for probably the next year. So for me, I'm still using these downtimes as the time to accumulate more. That's just the way I'm going to do it. I may start looking at some other positions to try and swing in and out of things to make that little bit of extra cash to be able to add to Tesla as well. Again, cash flow generation to me is the most important thing this year. And if I can do so in my portfolio, that would be great as well. That's just another little stream of income I can have. Because obviously just buying and holding Tesla, I'm not going to make any extra money to invest into Tesla. But if I can take the other small portion of my portfolio, swing some cash in and out of there, make some profits and put that in, that can make me some money. And I know I've had discussions with many of you guys on here. Some of you don't have any other sources of income. Some of you guys are all in the market. And if you're all in Tesla, you know, just ride it out. You know, there's really nothing much else you can do. You know, for me in my IRA, I will swing in and out of Tesla just because I can basically net myself some extra shares. This year alone, I have netted myself 2 extra shares just by swinging in and out of Tesla itself. So I sold back when it was at $10.50. I bought back in when it was at $2.50 this time around. So pre-split, that would have been $7.50. And I got myself 2 extra shares by doing that. And if I do end up swinging in and out of all of these stocks, it will be the good stocks. It's not going to be any cheap stocks. It's going to be good quality stocks because, again, worst case scenario is they don't swing back up in the near term and then I just have to hold them longer. So for me, that is going to be my safety net is, you know, swinging in and out of good stocks, knowing full well that they will end up coming out of this if we get into worse and more turbulent times in the market. So that's just going to be my strategy, not financial advice, but that is what I am going to do to try and build up my share count even more. And if you guys want to see all of the trades that I make, I do have those over on Twitter at OracleTim1. So let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think is going to happen with PPI and CPI over the next 2 days? Do you think that we are going to beat expectations and maybe rally a little bit in the market, seeing as oversold as we are? Or do you think that we are going to have a hawkish Fed come out, we are going to miss expectations and pull down even further? And let me know how you feel about the China production numbers and the demand issues that we were hearing about over there. Do you still think that we do have demand issues? And why do you think Model Y production was down over August? So let me know your thoughts in the comments on that. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.